Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine, co-host and bestie.
Welcome to the Pod Lab, Cathrine.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, today we are recording episode number 262, and we're calling it Dear Cathrine and Tracy.
As if we're like Abby and Ann.
Right, like an advice column.
Yeah.
We came up with this idea a few weeks ago, and then we launched the first part 1 last week. So if you'd like to tune into that one and you haven't heard it yet, that's our first attempt at throwing some of our pearls of wisdom out your way. And we had so many inquiries from our listeners that we decided to do a part 2. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to give advice. Mm-hmm. And it's actually solicited advice, like people actually asked.
Yeah, and since they asked, we're
we
just going to do our best.
Right, we love to give the people what they want.
Yeah, right.
And speaking of giving you what you want, if you guys are enjoying this, you guys meaning you people listening to us right now, if you are enjoying us rattle on about whatever this advice thing is, we think it might be fun to add this to our repertoire of things that we do. So maybe we would do it once a month or something like that if we have enough interest.
Fun and helpful to us and to you.
Of course.
But it helps us because it gives us things to talk about.
Right. It gives us ideas, and it includes you because we want you to be a part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. We want you to feel like you're right here with us in the Pod Lab.
Right.
You know.
Plus that.
Right. Like you just have a cozy little chair there and we're just chatting. We're just girls chatting.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are interested in hearing more, advice-y kind of things, then just email your advice question to Tracy at tracydegraff.com. And I'll put that in the show notes so you can find my email address. And speaking of tracydegraff.com, Cathrine, just explain to our listeners how they can support the podcast.
Yeah, you can support us by going to lifehappens.laughanywaypodcast.com. That'll take you to Tracy's website, and from there you will see the fields needed to donate. And your donation, your contribution, helps us pay for the platform, and it helps us grow.
It does, and it's very much appreciated. And most of our donors, our humor contributors, donate $5 a month, so they don't even feel that. I'm just like, it's like a cup of coffee, not even.
Yeah, I mean, pretty soon your pennies aren't even going to matter. So
people are they're not even taking pennies.
Yeah, some places are not. Yeah, some still are, but some are not. And they said something to me the other day. You want to round down? I was like, heck yeah, round it down.
You know what we should do? We should get all of our pennies and just go shopping. And just
for sure.
Be like, I'm paying in pennies today. Oh, we don't take pennies. Oh well.
How do you feel about that?
About the pennies?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. Like how do you feel about it?
I don't like that we're getting rid of pennies because I kind of have that mentality, take care of your pennies will take care of your dollars.
Okay.
You know, they matter. And so now everything's going to be rounded up, and even though that one person asked me. So eliminating the pennies, I think, is just going to make things more expensive.
No, they're already expensive. It's not going to make them more expensive.
Sure it will.
No, it won't. Because a penny, I think the reason they're getting rid of the penny is because it costs more to make it than it's worth.
Yeah, probably, but...
So we don't really need it. Well, it's happening, so accept it.
Well...
It is what it
is. For
is.
example, like you go to... like Goodwill now.
Yeah.
Now their price tags are no longer like $1.99. It's $2.09, $2.12, and on like that. Pennies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to have to, I don't know, do a penny protest. You can make up some signs. A penny saved is a penny earned.
Yeah, well.
You know, all the little phrases.
Yeah, there's a lot to that.
Yeah. All right. In other news, let's get on with episode 2.
I have one more PSA.
Oh.
I have to do this PSA.
Oh,
I want to get this out there.
Yeah, please do.
My cousin, well, really my cousin's daughter, she had to go away on business, and she stayed in a really nice, familiar hotel. One of those name brands that is well known for good quality. But
it wasn't like a Fleabag
No.
motel alongside the road that's
No.
run by Fred and Ella or something like that. Or Salmonella.
Salmonella.
That's it.
But no, this is a nice, reputable hotel. And she used a lot of the hotels in the showers. They no longer give those little bottles, but they have those dispensers.
Right.
And she used the shampoo dispenser or the conditioner or both. And immediately her hair started falling out in clumps.
In the shower?
In the shower.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't even later.
Wow.
And unless it was her second shower, that detail I don't know. But it did happen in the shower, and it is from that shampoo conditioner. And so anyway, long story short, the hotel's insurance company, of course, is saying, no, you probably already had problems with your hair and such, which she did not. But the PSA is don't use that stuff because
Never.
other guests can do a hoax and a joke, and perhaps somebody put a chemical in there. I don't even know if I should say what I think it is.
What do you think
But-
it is?
Nair.
Right. That's
But
what
I didn't want to say it in case other people get the idea. I don't think our listeners are like that, but you never know.
Okay, but the PSA is don't use that stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't
Right.
use it. If you
Yeah.
end up you're at a hotel and you forgot your stuff at home, call the desk and tell them that you want something that's sealed, factory sealed,
Yeah.
to wash your hair.
Which they'll probably make you pay for.
Well,
But,
so what? It's worth it.
but well, yeah. But, or just bring your own. But yeah.
Yeah, and Catherine
Yes.
used to work in the hotel industry, and she could tell you some stories. You should not use
Oh,
the
yeah.
coffee maker either.
Don't use that.
Just
Mhm.
saying. This world is weird, Catherine.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for that PSA, and I hope that your cousin's daughter is, not traumatized by that, and I hope that her hair grows fast.
I know. Yeah, she's young enough-ish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I hope it turns out okay.
And the hotel should compensate her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They should minimal.
Well, that's why they have insurance
They
attorneys.
should minimal comp her stay, not make her pay to
At
lose
the-
her hair.
at the least, yeah. at the
Right, but I
minimum.
would think that one would have some kind of I don't know, compensation. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. Dear Catherine and Tracy, part 2. So if you stay tuned with us, friends, all the way to the end of this episode, these are the things that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about how to keep the fires burning in a long-term marriage, which is great. We're also going to talk about boundaries to separations and even canceling regarding the younger generation and how they're it's a thing out there.
A cancel culture type mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of younger adults who are cutting off their parents, just going cold turkey, you don't exist anymore. You're dead to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to get into that a little bit. What's healthy, what's not. And then the final thing that we were asked about is how to handle it when our adult kids make choices that we really don't agree with. So those are the three different topics.
Yeah.
They're
and
big.
I felt they were big and they were somewhat heavy.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's just me and Tracy.
I know, but they asked. So
They
we have-
asked,
we have
right? So
thoughts.
I did some deep diving.
We have some thoughts. As usual, we have some scripture to share with you at the end, so stay tuned for that, as well as a call to action. So, Catherine, let's dive in here. This first email that we got was from our listener, Katie, and she said we could use her name. And Katie said, I'd love advice on how to keep having fun with your husband for so many years and seasons of marriage. Do you know what my husband said after I read that to him? He
Oh, I
said,
can
are you
only-
going to really tell her?
Oh.
Shut up. Okay.
Yeah, Kenny asked me today, so
a
what are you guys
Christian
going to
show.
talk about? And I didn't, I just rattled on.
Yeah.
Didn't give him a chance to go
Right.
there.
So anyway, then she says, I'd love to know how you grew closer to your husband after your kids grew up and moved away. My husband and I have 2 young kiddos, a 6 and 4-year-old. So it's going to be a minute, Katie, before they move away. It's
Literally.
going to be
will-
a couple decades. And so and we are so tired at night sometimes, but date nights are expensive and TV isn't as connecting, but we love a good movie night. Just any ideas of how you can make those connections would be great. So what would you say to listener Katie?
Katie, definitely, there's nothing wrong with, I get what you're saying about TV isn't connecting.
Yeah.
But you're together. You're in the same room. You're breathing the same air together. And on an average night, where 2 parents they've done their thing for the day, work, took care of kids and all the stuff, I really think, I mean, so I'm speaking from experience. I really believe that's okay. That's okay to watch some TV. And I don't, what Kenny and I do a lot is we'll pause if one of us has a thought, and it could be totally random. We'll pause the TV and we'll share whatever it is. And we're still connecting.
Yeah.
And sometimes less talk is better. Silence is okay. That's how you last all those years, right?
Yeah. Before you go on though, give any of our like new listeners, tell them how long you and Kenny have been married.
We've been married 30, I think we're going to be 34 years.
Okay.
This year.
So you're qualified. You're an expert. You're still together.
I can say this, that we've been through the hard stuff when the kids were in the home, and there's a lot of people that when their kids leave, the parents they have invested so much in their kids, that when their kids are gone, then the husband and wife are looking at each other like, now what? And they leave.
Yeah, I've heard that many times.
Yeah, and I can honestly say not so in our case, thank God, but through the stuff that was tough.
Yeah.
We got, I mean, first of all, you just have to have healthy perspectives in the first place. So there's that. But, so your question, Katie, like, how do you keep it going afterward? Really, it's now you are able to really spend more time together. And I will say this, Kenny likes to plan. This is just for us, I'm saying. He likes to plan little getaways. He has been kind of bombarding me, I'll say, for another like little getaway. And it's like 3-day weekends somewhere not far from us in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And funny because we just did advice on, where to go for Gail.
Yeah.
And Kenny's like, first he said the Niagara Falls. I'm like, Niagara Falls? I don't want to go there. And then I felt bad that I said that. And I'm like, oh no, if you want to go, I've been.
Yeah.
He hasn't. But so anyway, we settled on Pigeon Forge. But there you go. See, there's a perfect example. I just said by accident that my first reaction to him was, oh, I don't want to go there. And then I recanted and went, oh, I'm sorry. If you want to go there, I'll go there. Yeah. So it's those kinds of things. And yes, date nights they can be expensive, but man, if you like to picnic or things like that, that doesn't cost anything. We used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm picking up from you after being married now for 34 years, what you're saying to Katie and to others like her who are in that stage of the kids are little now, but she's already thinking like, how do we build something so that when the kids are gone, that we're still connected?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask yourself.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like what you're saying is you build the foundation now. Even if you don't have the money or the time to get away and do these little jaunts or whatever, just build what you can now, build a solid foundation. And I know you as a Christian and Kenny as a Christian and myself and Ron, that's your biggest solid piece of advice is to put Jesus first. The Lord is number one in both of your lives. And then you're both committed, right? To this marriage as a sacred, holy thing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is definitely. And we weren't Christians when we first got married, but thank God, somewhat shortly after that we did become. And so it's just this commitment that you know that you have and that plus you're just changed, you're changed from the inside out. So you realize things like when you say, I don't want to go to Niagara Falls. And then the Holy Spirit just grabs hold and like, oops.
Yeah.
So, that's, definitely true. Another thing real quick too is, when I think most people know who listen to us regularly, I go to counseling and mostly now it's just for growth, but, when I had one of the times told her that we were going to Mackinac Island, she's like, oh, she goes, I got something for you. And it was like these lists of questions that even though we've been married for so long, we can ask each other these questions as we drive along. And yeah, it was kind of fun.
Yeah. That's a good segue to a little tool that I was going to recommend. And that is a little box, and it's called 88 Great Conversation Starters for Husbands and Wives.
That's awesome.
So it's a set of cards that is in a really sturdy box with a lid, and I keep them next to the end table in our living room, and we'll just pull them out once in a while. And I've even brought these when you and Kenny and Ron and I all went out for dinner. I brought a few. Now, we've been best friends as couples for many years.
Yeah.
But we still had fun answering these questions, right?
Yeah. And I forgot how small the box is, by the way. When you just now mentioned that you were going to go grab it for the podcast, I was thinking like a bigger box. So why I'm saying that is it's so convenient to just tuck in your purse. Like that could fit in a purse.
Oh, yeah. It's just
small
like
purse.
A little bit larger than a regular size deck of cards.
Yeah.
And I do have to say one funny thing that happened, because now I've been buying these for anybody that gets married, and so I sent this gift to my nephew Jake and his new wife Katie. And I'm sorry, Emily. Katie was the one who asked the question. Sorry, Emily. You happen to be listening. Not Katie. He doesn't have a double life. Katie asked the question.
He doesn't have a double.
Right. Oops. No, I sent this to my nephew Jake. Now Jake is a pilot. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes to work 30,000 feet up in the air. And Emily is not a pilot. And so he has to be away for work. And so I thought, what a nice thing for a new couple to stay connected, to just like when you get on the phone at night, well, let's go over one of the questions. And they've let me know that they've been using it. And they said that they love it. Now, that's a brand new married couple, right?
Yeah.
Ron and I have been married 37 years.
Yeah.
So the other night we're doing one of these questions, and the question says something like, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
In the ground.
With Jesus. And that's when Ron said, I think these questions are for young couples. I'm like, yeah.
That's funny.
But I love this as an idea. And I found this at The Well, the coffee shop in Manteno, Illinois, the Christian coffee shop at The Well. Yeah, they had it there for people that are just having, coffee. Yeah. They can ask each other questions or whatever. So,
hey, I want to back up.
What?
I feel horrible that I said in the ground, because that's not true.
It'd be with Jesus.
Jesus, why did I say that?
Well,
I was like, oh my gosh, why did I say that?
Because
anyway.
my body will be in the ground.
Yeah, I know,
but my
that's not where you will be.
Spirit will be with Jesus.
Right.
Another thing that I wanted to give some little advice just on the side is Ron and I, when we first got married in 1989, okay, we did not have a TV.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Now, back then...
That's why she has 5 kids.
It is, actually. Back then, our pastor recommended it.
Yeah.
Because we went through counseling, or whatever they call that, premarital counseling with the pastor. And he said, it's better if you don't have a TV for the first year so you can get to know each other. And we took it literal, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing was we bought a mattress out of a van in Joliet.
Oh, stop.
Oh, it was new. It was wrapped in plastic.
Somebody rewrapped it.
But it was so, flimsy that it just sunk in the middle immediately. So we have no TV. We have a mattress that goes to the middle.
Forced you to be together.
And then we would, for fun, we would play volleyball in the hallway of our apartment building.
Really?
With a balloon.
Oh, fun. That is fun.
So we would blow up a balloon and just sit in the hallway.
Yeah.
And bat it back and forth. Well, you can only do that for so long.
So fast forward to 37 years later.
Right.
And that becomes fun again.
Right.
Doing a balloon thing.
Right. We could do it again.
like those in between years? No, not fun. But you get old and suddenly playing with balloons is fun again.
It's so true.
It really is.
Okay. True story. After we had our first 2 kids, only 14 months apart, like bing bang, like I was pregnant in month 1.
Yeah.
Okay. of marriage. My husband's stepdad, his stepdad, who's passed away now.
Yeah.
But his stepdad one day just shows up at our front door. Because back then we didn't have cell phones. There was no texting. There was no email.
Yeah.
He shows up at our front door with a giant TV.
Oh.
brand new in the box. And he's like, I think you two need a TV.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that those are some great suggestions. Very inexpensive, balloon volleyball, the conversation starters, a picnic, as well as you could go on the other end of doing like a getaway.
Yeah. I want to say too, Katie, that you mentioned that, date nights can be expensive, and they can be, especially when you're raising the kids. But, when they start to get older, I think it's more affordable, because then it's just you two anyway.
Right. And
you don't have to hire a babysitter. So I would think that, try to do that sometimes too.
One idea with date nights could be to find another couple that is kind of in the same situation as you, that you sort of jive with, and just ask if you guys could maybe once a month or even once a quarter, so like 4 times a year or something, could you guys just swap families, as far as like you'll watch their kids while they go on a date night?
Oh, you're right.
Okay, get
Got
your
it.
head
Yes.
straight.
Like, wait, where are you going with this?
I'm saying share babysitting.
Okay.
Like I'll watch your kids while you guys go on a date night,
Yeah,
and then you guys can watch our kids while we go on a date night. Just do it once in a while, just so you can, kind of just keep in the routine. There was one other thing I wanted to share, and this is something that I just learned from my son Joel, who he's 29, so he's going to be 30 this year, and he told us, my husband and I, and he just had a baby. Well, his wife did, but he just made us grandparents, right? And he just told us that he remembers being a little kid, and when Dad would come home from work, because I was a stay-at-home mom, I would give my husband my full attention. And the kids knew that when he came home, that was time for them to be quiet and be out of the way. And they were disciplined if they were not, like
the whip.
But I remember taking some kind of a marriage class
Yeah.
that recommended that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't remember the name of it or anything like that, but it was basically just to show the children that the hierarchy of relationships goes like this. It's God, then the marriage, then the kids. Because we live in a world today where the children are made into this entity that they're not meant to be.
Definitely. They're on this
pedestal.
That they are, and that's what I mean by sometimes there's so much investment in the kids that then when they're gone,
right,
the husband and wife are looking at each other like, now what?
It doesn't take much to do it, because it's basically just when you and your spouse are reconnecting for the first time since the day, and whether you both work or one doesn't or whatever, you just tell the kids, this is mommy and daddy time. We're going to take 10 minutes to connect, to talk, and then we'll get to you guys.
Yeah.
It's just kind of setting the tone, I think.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think that's good advice.
Yeah, I definitely think that is good. I remember hearing that too from, I think it was Elizabeth George in a Bible study.
Yeah.
And she had recommended that. I wasn't super good at that, but I knew it was
what I think it does for children? Children want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. And I think that it just shows them that mom and dad are committed to each other. Right?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter how many toys they have or whatever. What they want is their parents to like each other.
Yeah,
they do. Of course, love each other, but they want their parents to like each other. They want to see that.
They do. All right, here's another question. Now, this one comes from an anonymous listener. And this listener says, more and more young adults are canceling their families. I understand there are times to have boundaries or separation, but I'm learning more and more about separating just because of discomfort. So that's kind of the question there is like, what about that?
Yeah, there's definitely good boundaries and really bad boundaries. And boundaries aren't just a good idea, they're a God idea.
Yeah.
In Genesis 2, there was one boundary. They only had one boundary, and Adam and Eve blew it.
They sure did.
And by the time at the end of the law and the prophets in the Bible, there were 613 boundaries.
Yeah.
And it grew from there. So again, boundaries, they're set by God. They're good. And boundaries, they're not just a method to perfect this whatever situation, but rather to protect what God intended for relationships. So those are some good things about boundaries. Some unhealthy boundaries, setting boundaries from a place of anger and bitterness, it will only lead to control and manipulation. And setting them as a punishment will only serve to imprison us.
Yeah.
Those are no good. They aren't meant to be weaponized, but rather prioritized for your safety, for healthy reasons. So the cancellation culture, honestly, I can't say, and none of us can say whether or not that's coming from a healthy or unhealthy perspective, but it does seem to be sometimes coming out of a more of an unhealthy perspective. So that's what I would say about that. But also, I don't know if I said this already, actually, but setting boundaries from a place of love provides an opportunity for relationships to grow deeply, because true connection thrives within the safety of a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
This
whole word, like you and I have talked about this off the air just as friends, this boundary thing, where did that word come from? We never heard boundaries when dealing with our parents,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think that today's world, we have social media, we have the internet, we have YouTube, we have all of this like advice out there.
Mm-hmm.
When you and I were young moms, we had that one book, right? There was that book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and then What to Expect in Your Child's First Year.
Yeah.
That was it.
Right.
Before that, what our moms had was Dr. Spock.
Yeah.
Right. That was it. And those were kind of like the Bible of raising kids. And I was thinking about this in terms of young adults putting boundaries on their parents, right? Like the grandparents. When I was a kid, my grandparents had proximity with their parents. They lived across the street. My mom and dad lived down the road. Like everybody lived in proximity with each other.
Right.
Today, we don't have that.
Yeah, I think too that in yesteryear, it was more where it was a family effort. I think that families helped each other more, and we've just grown to this society of independence.
Yeah.
To
autonomy.
The point of prideful.
Right, because you don't need your mom or your grandma to learn how to bake something. You got, Google.
Exactly.
Or chat.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's really tough, I think, because I do think the family's taken a hit on that. And I do think in some cases the baby's getting thrown out with the bathwater because we have a hard time with communication, and conflict is something that we try to avoid, right? Yeah. And so you kind of have that fight or flight. Well, I'm not going to deal with this conflict, so you're dead to me. Yeah. Do you remember when they used to say, talk to the hand?
Yes, I do. Yep. Talk to the hand. Call waiting. Turn the other side.
And today it's so much easier for them to do for young adults. Like if you want to separate from your family, you can block on social media. You can block the phone. You know what I mean? You can block everything.
Well, and that's that's not facing the dysfunction that you have. You've got to face that. You don't just cut off. I'm giving my opinions, but it's true. Every family has dysfunction. Every family is going to have a problem pop up here and there, or maybe pop up more frequently. Yeah. But you, more and more, we're just, because we're hurt, we're saying, that's it. I'm setting this boundary. You can't come here. My feelings were hurt. Now I'm going to stay in this perpetual state of pain and hurt. But that's not healthy. That's not healthy. The dysfunction has to be addressed, and it should be, because relationships are important. Yeah. So, but again, boundaries, healthy boundaries, they're good. And you can still work and have these conversations and problems, and still have the boundaries, just not completely cut off. Now, if it's a really unhealthy and unsafe situation, of course you have to separate yourself.
Yeah.
But
what was the resource that was called Goodbyes and Good Boundaries?
It's
is that Lisa Turkish?
Yes, Goodbyes and Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. Yeah.
Okay, by Lisa Turkish. I can never say her last name.
Yeah.
But that's a book that I know that you've read and you found it to be helpful, and so I just wanted to mention it because maybe somebody out there would find that interesting.
Yeah, I got all this information from
that book. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on boundaries and separation and cancel culture?
No, that's really most of my 2 cents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question from an anonymous listener. It says, what do you do when one daughter is married to an atheist? She doesn't want to talk about God, yet she claims to be a Christian and has a very liberal view. And the other daughter is living with an atheist who is also an alcoholic. They've been together for 11 years. She won't leave him. She's a believer. She does believe in equally yoked. She believes he will be saved. I've been praying for both of these men for over 10 years. What can I do besides pray? They are both good men, and I love my daughters very much.
Sounds like she loves her, significant others for her. Well, they're not son-in-law. One's a son-in-law, right? And the other one is her daughter's boyfriend.
One is married, one is boyfriend,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like she loves them as well.
You know how I know she loves them? Because she's praying for them.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, we both agree that the prayer is the number one thing. And even though the listener.
She wrote in an email.
Yeah. Even though she said that, what can I do besides pray? Of course, that's still the number one thing to do. So, So that first. But yeah, those are some heavy things. I just know when I've brought up certain concerns, now my kids listen to this podcast, so they're going to be like, why'd you bring that up? But as if they're deep issues. But anyway, my counselor says, let them fall and let them fail. And as hard as that is, depending on the circumstance, though.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. She also said that if the adult child runs something past you, kind of seeking your advice or your opinion, then that's okay. Just jump right in. Or sometimes just ask for permission to give your opinion or advice, and they'll respond to that. Yeah, most typically. Regarding the, she had said that her daughter does believe in being equally yoked, and one thing that I have learned, also from the Boundaries book, I think that's where I got that from, is healthy equilibrium in a relationship is possible only when both people are equally committed to these things, like healthy habits, self-awareness, and an empathy for the feelings of the other person. There's nothing wrong with the mom saying that to her daughters, to point that out. Yeah. Or even to plant the seed to the daughters and to say, if you feel that you have to trade the best of who you are to protect the worst of who they are, that's a red flag, and you should pay attention to that. That's okay to say. Yeah.
It sounds to me like the situation is that the daughters are in relationships that they're very committed to, and that they love these men. And something that we're learning at our church, we're taking a Sunday school class, and they talked about the effectual calling of God. And basically it's a tenet of faith. It's like a building block of faith. And what it means is that the power of God's Spirit calling someone is irresistible. So I would recommend to this listener to pray for these men even with more fervency, that the Holy Spirit will effectually call them and meet them where they are, and believe it with your whole heart that it's going to happen.
Right.
And you may not have the blessing and honor of witnessing it yourself, but just know that it is going to happen.
Yeah, and God does not respond to that.
Yeah.
So, and he finishes what he starts.
He does.
Yeah.
Now, with the alcohol, I have to say this about that because I grew up in a home that was addicted to alcohol. My dad was an alcoholic. Alcohol is not, somebody doesn't start out to go, you know what, I'm going to become an alcoholic.
Right.
I think I'm going to go down this road. Alcohol is a very gripping addiction, just like any other addiction. It's very gripping. It's hard. It's very hard to just walk away from. My dad went through Alcoholics Anonymous 50 years ago, and he was clean and sober after he was done with it. So he did that like when I was 13 years old. I'm now 60. It made all the difference in his life. His parents were the ones who stepped in his life. And I don't know what they said to him.
And he was an adult, obviously.
Right. He was 40. I think. Something like that. And his parents stepped in. My mom had finally had it with the years, because it was my whole life. It was like that. My mom had finally had it, and it was my grandparents who stepped in and had a conversation with him, like a real, like, hey, you're going to lose everything, lose your family. Now, I know everybody's situation is different.
Right, right.
So I don't know what the answers are, but what I am resonating with is the difficulty of that situation and the pain of it. And he didn't want to be there. You know, he didn't want that.
Right.
So, I mean, I think as far as the alcohol goes, that's a bigger like beast to try to fight. As far as like, there's a physical addiction, there's a mental addiction, there's, you know, it's a big thing.
Right. And there's codependency.
Yeah.
Which is more than likely, I'm pretty sure that the daughter is codependent on his behavior.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I know there's a lot of enabling with addiction because, you know, whatever. But I'll say this about that. Pray about that as well. Just keep praying. Praying is really going to, I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's the way it is.
No, it's true.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you had pointed out that his parents, so that's parents of an adult child, and they felt they needed to step in.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to mention it. You know, the other thing I want to say about our adult kids, and I know that I've shared this with you because we're best friends, but, you know, I was given this image. I might cry saying this. I hope not, but I'm going to, if I do, just have grace with me. I had this visual image of one of my adult sons being in a boat. And that it was dark and it was pitch black and the boat was like a little rowboat, you know, and the boat was like drifting out to sea. And I don't know why I was given this image. I mean, it was in my brain and I was like, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. It makes me tear up just talking about it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when a baby comes out of your body, that little human heart grabs hold of your heart, your mama heart, and they yank it right out of your body.
Right.
They take it. And they go all over this world dragging your heart along with them, right? But here's the thing that I want to encourage you with to our listener who's got these two daughters that have these issues. Your daughters might be in a boat. And it could be dark and it could be dangerous and they could be drifting and you could be scared because you're on the shore and you feel hopeless and helpless. But I want you to remember that Jesus is in the boat.
Yeah.
He is in the boat and you might see him and he might be asleep like he was with the disciples. And they're like, Lord, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah.
But he is in the boat. And in fact, he has the ability to get out of the boat and walk on the water. So as moms, as painful as it is to go through some of these experiences with our children, that's just the way motherhood is.
Yeah.
It's a bond. That maternal bond goes on. And, one more just quick story. I was giving a message on Mother's Day, and you know this one too, but I'm going to share it for the benefit of this listener. On Mother's Day, a couple years ago, I was asked to speak at a church. So I'm given this message, and I asked the church ahead of time. I said, can I give an altar call? I'm not an altar caller. Like, that's not I'm a comedian. I don't give altar calls. And I said, we don't do altar calls at our church. I was like, can I do an altar call? And they go, sure. I'm like, okay, how do you do that? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just felt it. And so I did this altar call at this Mother's Day service, and it was a pretty big church in the Chicago area. And there were so many people in line.
Yeah,
like
that's
for
amazing.
for me to pray with them after the service. And the bottom line of the service was, Jesus is in a passionate pursuit of you. And it was Psalm 139. Okay. So here comes this guy, and he's got tears in his eyes, and he looked to be about 45-ish, something like that. And he's crying. It's Mother's Day. And he gets up to me, and he says, I left. I was gone. I left the service. I got in my car, and I was out on the road going home. And I turned around and came back because I had to talk to you. And he said he was feeling guilty. He wanted me to pray for him because he felt guilty that his mom prayed for him years after years after years. He had an addiction. And he never busted the addiction in her lifetime. But he knew that she was faithfully praying for him for years and years and years. And he felt bad about that, that he wasn't able to bust it before she died, okay, because now she was gone. So I prayed with him through that and did my best to just pull in the Holy Spirit and bring comfort to this man.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying, moms, is that for some of us, we may not see it in our lifetime.
Yeah. Well, and what an encouragement to all of us as moms who are praying and praying, for XYZ.
Yeah.
That it's just very encouraging
It
to
is.
know
It
that
is.
he did kick it. And I'm assuming he's a church-going man.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I did tell him, I said, as a mother, I'm going to tell you that if your mom knew that you were here today, she would be so proud of you. And she would be so happy. And I don't know if we can see things from heaven. I don't get into all that because that's not for me to know.
Right.
But I said, God's timing is God's timing. So that encourages me as a mom, and I hope it does you too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely encourages me.
Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, let's share. Our scripture for today is Psalm 1. I love this psalm. It's very short. It says, "Blessed is the one who does not walk in the step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so the wicked, they are like chaff, and the wind blows them away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction."
Wow.
It's a good psalm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little call to action as we leave, friends. Just a couple things. If you're married, plan a date night. Just plan one. Some kind of a date night. Even if it's at home, and if you're struggling in a relationship, that maybe has a boundary that you're not happy with, hold out an olive branch in whatever way you can, to just build a bridge. And if you're disappointed in your adult children in some way, in a choice that they've made, just keep the faith and love them right where they are.
Yep, definitely.
All right, friends. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.